The four Beardsmen of the Bookpocalyse.
Hello.
Hello. What?
Everyone.
Long time no see, everyone.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Fine.
It's like riding a bike.
Welcome back, Justin.
Thanks. It's good to be back again. And hey, I showed up on time this time.
Yeah.
We had a moment of worry, but you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
So everyone this
Let's
Friday.
get this out of the way. Let's just congratulate Mr. List.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. 5 months of anticipation laid to rest in a delightful way. I found it out 10 minutes ago. That's why, thus my obnoxious that.
That's not obnoxious. That's just celebrating.
Thank you.
great.
Thank you.
I think it's called marketing, so that's all good.
Marketing, we'll call it that.
Yeah, it's that too.
We should all change our screen names so it reflects your triumph.
Yeah.
Too kind.
I don't actually know how. I don't remember how I set my name on this in the first place. So I don't know how to change it.
Well, you can show off and say winner, so you know.
Look, on the subject of SPFBO, real quick, Justin, a very late, 7-year late, 8-year late. Congratulations to you. You had a book win 2018.
No,
Was
it was 20. It was
2020.
2021. So it was like 5 years ago. Yeah, it was the 2020 competition, but it finished in 2021 because that was obviously what it was running summer to summer. So
Right.
Yeah.
A very late congratulations to you on that, for whatever that's
Thank you very
worth.
much. It's always worth something. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's very good.
Yeah, I keep in touch with the competition as well. It's great. It's got such a great community around it, and I made a lot of friends from that I'm still friends with today. So
That's awesome.
it's a great competition. It's a brilliant thing Mark does. I think it's amazing.
It is.
I mean, completely, specifically, even for me, completely changed my career. So, you know, properly life changing. It was amazing.
I had some questions about that, and sometimes I'm the rambling question guy, and I'm trying to rein that in a little bit because my boys also.
Interrogator, but
We
They
will
also-
unleash you at some point. Fear not.
the day we turn the table.
Go for it. Have you got?
I was going to ask, is that what facilitated the Orbit deal, the 4-book deal you got with Orbit, or would you say that? I guess put enough eyes on your book to where it probably influenced it at least.
No, there's a straight line. There's a straight line because winning it got me. Winning the competition was why I got an agent. Getting an agent was why I got the book deal. So it's a straight line from winning SPFBO to getting the 4-book Orbit deal. Absolutely.
A lot of people owe Mark a lot of gratitude, don't we? Have you met Mark before?
Oh yeah, I've seen him multiple times. Yeah, he usually is in the bar at Bristol Con, and I interviewed him at name's got Chimera. God, Anne would shot me if I'd forgotten the name of Chimera. I interviewed him at Chimera a couple of years ago. Him and Gareth Brown, and then we also did a panel together at Comic Con in London a couple of years ago as well. So I've hung out with him a fair bit and bought him a few beers and had lunch with him and stuff to say thanks.
I definitely owe him at least one beer at this moment.
I think a lot of people owe Mark beers for the amount of work that he's done and exposure he's created for self-published fantasy.
Yeah.
No, it's a good thing. I remember that when I first stumbled across it, it was just like, whoa, hang on, this is awesome. You know, everything in one place, and it's just so. And even though, obviously, clearly it's a competition, but I know, and it's easy for me to say probably no particular skin in the game, but it's in the. You mentioned that community and the fact that you know there's everybody's kind of in it together, and there's not that sort of. It's not a little cutthroat, stepping over each other,
No,
in sort of thing.
it really isn't.
Yeah,
No,
which is
yeah.
nice.
It really isn't. The people I got to know the best are the people I was finalists with. The other 9 finalists are the people that we've still got a chat. It's pretty dead these days. We don't often. Every now and again, if one of us has something interesting to say, we'll pop in and say hi. But yeah, those other 9 guys are probably the people that I became closest with during the whole thing. We were commiserating with each other and congratulating each other, and we were the only 10 people in the world at that point in time going through the same experience.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Very cool.
It was a great experience. Really, really enjoyed it, and really grateful for it.
Very
So,
cool.
and now you've got book match.
Yes.
And that book match, yeah.
Why don't you just tell us what book match is? Get it out there.
I will, and thank you. So, book match. Book match has been an idea that has been in my head for, God, probably since I first self-published Carpet Diem in 2018. Because at that point in time, I didn't know what resources were out there. I had been Carpet Diem in 2015 was originally published with a really small press down in Newcastle called Wild Wolf, and really nice guys, but not a lot of resources. I ended up doing a fair bit of the marketing and stuff myself, but I learned a lot through having their support, and that's what led me when I got the opportunity to self-publish to do that. And I knew a lot. I'd been involved in publishing in different industries, so I had a fair bit of knowledge about publishing, technically speaking, but I knew nothing about what was out there for fiction. Essentially, I'd never worked in fiction, and so I was looking around like, how do I kind of, where's a platform where I can kind of get this out to as many potential reviewers as possible? And I was, there were Facebook groups I found, and I just started Googling and finding people, but trying to refine that down to like, okay, people who review fantasy, specifically people who review comedy, urban fantasy, which is what Carpet Diem is. People who are open to reading self-published urban comedy fantasy. People who are open to submissions. What are their submissions guidelines? Like, that was such a torturous process, and I spent so much time on it trying to find reviewers, and I did find some, and they were lovely. And some of them asked me to come on and do some interviews with them after reading the book, but I spent weeks and weeks just doing the research, trying to find these people and everything. And I remember sitting thinking, I would pay someone to do this for me. And so the idea was always at the back of my head of, how would that work? How could you make that work in a way that works for both reviewers and authors? And the idea eventually became Book Match, which, so the idea is essentially, it's a platform, it's a matchmaking platform. So it's not, what I didn't want to create was like a reviewing platform. I didn't want to create something where we're like, hey, want to buy a review? Because everybody's sick of getting scammed by people like that.
Yeah.
I wanted to make it very clear that what we're doing is we're not guaranteeing you reviews. We're not selling you a review. What we're saying is we will save you that time and do that work for you. So we have gone out and attracted reviewers. We're coming up on 200, which I'm delighted with at this early stage.
Nice.
And I hope we keep getting more. I hope it keeps growing. I hope people keep talking about it. And then what we've built is a system that allows them to quite granularly select the subgenres of science fiction, fantasy, and horror that they're interested in reading. And it was important to me to focus on SFFH because that's the community I know. And that's where I know people know me. So I hope that would help make everything go smoothly. So they can come in, they can pick, sort of granularly choose their subgenres, and then when people upload their books, they put in their subgenres, and then we're able to just match them. We email the books out once a week, and we know that the people we're sending them out to are open to that genre, open to reading self-published, and open for submissions. And there's, it's probably a couple of you guys have already uploaded them. It's like what, a 5-10 minute job.
Very quick.
And then
very quick
you've
and
done
easy,
it. It's up. The system, it's there. It gets emailed out, and then it sits in the library, and reviewers can go in and peruse it. And so it's a way of getting your book in front of these potential reviewers. And it was also important to me that it was an affordable price that people could actually afford, and not hundreds of pounds to try to get on
Yeah.
a system whose name shall not be mentioned.
I
And
was going to say, I know of the
so,
ones
yeah.
that are hundreds of dollars. I know of some of those, and I probably had it on the back burner. One day, if I got some cash to just blow, I guess here's a thing I'll try.
Yeah.
Well,
And I looked at that as well and thought, that's just, I don't have that kind of cash to just
Yeah.
put on this. And I was a nobody author that nobody knew. I'd sold some books through the small publisher. I'd had good reviews, so I had a little bit of a foundation more than somebody who was just self-publishing for the first time with their debut. But yeah, I just thought that platform's not going to work for me. I need something that actually is more intelligent about how it filters who gets this book. And so about 18 months ago, I suddenly found myself with a lot of time on my hands and thought, well, I should do this. I should build this.
Yeah.
And it's been my third job for the last year and a bit, because I've got a day job and I'm writing a book, and so this has been job number 3. I was lucky to find a really good designer to work with, who happens to be one of my oldest best friend's brothers, and we've both been doing it kind of on the side, putting it together for the last 18 months. At one point, we had to we came up with one design for the whole site and put it out for some feedback, and the feedback was basically, this looks completely wrong for what you're doing, and that was absolutely right. I mean, our first go at it was like, okay, the functionality probably works, but it looks terrible. This is wrong. And so we basically had to go back to the drawing board and start again. But I'm really pleased with what we got to in the end. I think we got it right in the end. And I'm really
What I've seen looks awesome, and the page with violent individuals.
Yeah, but as a user, like, and I've signed up as a reviewer, and you get a great email, which we got last week, which you got a list of books. There's not just, I'm not scrolling through. This is maybe 1 or 2 are interesting. It's like, because you can obviously set what you're interested in, so you get that sort of tailored list sent to you, which is fantastic. Going, hey, these all look. I mean, that didn't not do my TBR any good, but it's and the site's great. It's very easy to go around, easy to navigate. You've got good descriptions from the books. It's great. It's I think it'll only pick up more and more as people get on board with it. But
I hope so too.
Yeah. So.
I hope so. I mean, I'm kind of taking the slightly Field of Dreams approach. If you build it, they will come. I'm hoping, having built it.
It does seem like the kind of invention where it's like, why wasn't this already a thing? And that's the best kind of inventions.
Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, I know there are things out there that do similar things.
Yeah.
But I don't think anything does quite what we do.
No.
In the way that we do it. And this is my intention with this, is that it's an ongoing project. This is not a build it and then forget it. I mean, we're going to be continuing to develop it. We are already bringing in new developments in response to community requests. Like today, we've just rolled out a new filter that we've added to the site, because a number of LGBTQ authors had said that they wouldn't think about signing up if there wasn't some kind of filter for them to be able to make sure their books only went out to people who were open to reading LGBTQ books. And so, about half a week of development, and we were able to get that up, and we've just added that and rolled that out today. And we will keep, we're going to keep developing that. We're going to keep adding features that people are asking for, and keep trying to make it something that is everything that people want it to be, from both the author side and the reviewer side.
But I think as a thing, the fact that you're rolling things out quickly, you're responding to community feedback and things, that will also garner interest, because hey, these guys are listening. People raise things. It's being they're receptive to it, not our way or the highway, which a lot of places are like, no, that's the system, lump it or leave it.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I want to do. Is I want to make it something that becomes, there's the danger of there's that old thing of, a camel is a horse designed by committee. There is a danger that we end up with too many chefs and too many, and so I'm having to be thoughtful and careful about what ideas we take on board and which we prioritize. But when there are ideas that come in, when I hear them from multiple people, and when I can see that they are a good idea and that they work, we get them on the slate and we get them rolled out as quickly as we can, because and they're already, we literally do have a development slate already. We haven't even, the site's only been fully launched for, it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. We already have a list of development things that we're going to be doing that are hopefully going to just be improving the way the site works and improving its user friendliness and making it work the way people will want it to work for them, basically.
Did you have development experience or expertise?
None whatsoever. I am completely technologically incompetent. I am firmly of the belief that there is a small fairy inside my laptop that makes my pictures appear on my screen.
Yeah.
I am completely useless. And so no, the job number one when I had this idea was I better find somebody who actually knows how to build this thing, because I haven't the slightest clue.
Yeah,
well, I read books for a living, man. I don't make things function. That's not how that works.
Yeah, know what you don't know. So
yeah,
exactly.
Self-awareness is a gift.
Exactly. So,
well,
and the other thing. So this is an official, exclusive, public announcement for Book Match on your podcast. Is that one of the things I have heard from a lot of authors? Is that even at the level that we were charging at £35 per book, which has always been my intention, has always been that we balance accessibility for authors with sustainability for the site. It has ongoing costs, it has ongoing time that needs to go into it, and I know things like this have been tried before by people that have failed because they've been done on a sort of voluntary basis, and people just run out of steam and they don't get maintained. So my intention was always it has to be accessible for authors, but it also has to pay for itself, basically. And I thought £35 was a good place to pitch that. I thought that was a fair balance on that. But I've heard from quite a few authors that for them still, that they're early in their career, they don't have a lot of income coming in from their book sales. That's still a price that's too high for them. There's a barrier for them. So I'm announcing tonight that indefinitely, we are dropping the price from £35 per book to £20 a book. I don't know. Thank you. I don't know if that will be permanent. It's going to depend on whether we can make it work at that rate. Hey. If it works at that rate, then we'll keep it at that rate. If enough books come in that the service works, that we keep getting the books in, we keep bringing the reviewers on board, and the community comes together, delighted. If that's how it works, great. But I hope this gives some of the authors who felt that the price was a barrier the opportunity. I hope it puts it at a level that it gives them the opportunity to submit a book where they might not have.
Yeah, and this is not a critique at all, because I immediately signed up. But £35 translates to 48 Americans, 48ish or 46, something like that. Which is not. Yeah. I mean, it's steeper than a meal. Yeah, but again, the sites. It's not bad. It wasn't too terrible for me, and I don't spend a ton on marketing. I spend so very little on marketing. I may be a unique case in how little I spend on anything at all, but it because I spend so little, it was a very acceptable number for me, and especially compared to some sites that where you can house your book and hope that it gets reviewed, or those individuals that reach out on Twitter and they're like, "I can get you some reviews. You just got to slip me, whatever."
Yeah, exactly. We guarantee you 100 reviews for £5. Like, those aren't real. Those are not going to be real human beings reading that book. There's not a chance.
And I think there's that level of skepticism where there's so many, like the AI bots get in touch, like, you can get 100 reviews of $5.
Right.
So you're just throwing money away. I think the fact that you've put your name and your face behind Book Match is really key to building that trust back. Because I think there's a lot that's been lost from people.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been sending emails out to. There was a thing that used to be done that I know some of the Spiffboard reviewers were involved in. I don't know if any of you guys were involved in it, which was TBR Rinder, which was an attempt to do this by reviewers, kind of setting up a database to help authors find them and stuff. And there were about 300 people on that, which when I became aware of that and saw that, I thought, well, okay, there's an appetite for this from both sides, because I knew there was an appetite for it from the author's perspective, but I could see there was also an appetite for something like this from the reviewer's perspective too, to help them find books that they wouldn't necessarily come across naturally or any other way. And so I one of the first things I did was emailed this group of people, and I realized that a lot of them just weren't responding. And I was like, if I was getting these emails, I would assume it was AI, and I would just probably delete it. So I wrote this whole email basically going, I swear to God, it's me. I took this terrible photograph of me where I hadn't washed my hair. I was wearing a really cruddy hoodie. And I was like, this picture of me, it does not exist anywhere on the internet. I promise you, it really is me. I'm not AI. And funnily enough, I did get a couple of people who wrote back and went, okay, yeah, I believe it's you now. Well, okay.
At what level have you got to go to prove that you're a real person?
Yeah,
I know.
Some of the people, some of the people may have made a post. Oh, look, Justin Lee Anderson, the real Justin Lee Anderson reached out to me. Sure, yeah.
It's like, no, it really is me. I did have. I had one guy. It was funny. I'd messaged the guy on, I think it was Instagram. I'd messaged the guy on there just saying, hope you don't mind the message. I think he followed me on Instagram and he was a reviewer. So I messaged him just to say, hey, I just wanted to let you know about this. And sent him a link. Hope you don't mind the message. And he replied along the lines of, no, don't mind the message as long as it's really you. And I was like, okay, God. I was like, yeah, fair enough. I spent a lot of time figuring out how to write a message that wouldn't sound like fucking AI. So I get why you're skeptical. I promise you it's really me. And his reply was, yeah, fair enough. The use of the phrase fucking AI confirms it's you. That's cool. And I was like, that's a great thing that proves, if that proves it's real, the phrase fucking AI makes it me. Yes, I'll have that. I'll wear that as my personality.
Noting
that's the filter we need.
But there is such a pattern, isn't there? Like just day to day, you can open up any social media. You're bombarded with people trying to sell you stuff. And I suppose that's a pretty natural reaction, isn't it? Like, oh, Justin Lee Anderson's emailed me out of the blue trying to invite me to book match. So
I totally get it. Yeah.
Maybe you don't always have to go down the sort of swearing route to prove your legitimacy. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems to be the way. It seems to be the thing. Or just missing AI.
Next thing, ChatGPT will be swearing back at us, going, effing seized, like, and we'll go, oh, yeah.
I've heard some means of testing AI, of testing if you're not sure if a thing is AI or not. There are some things you can ask it to say. I won't be saying those on this channel. And AI apparently is supposedly incapable of saying certain things.
For how long?
Do you want to learn? Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I was listening to a podcast about that the other day where it was these people who are they're trying to what they're calling jailbreak AI and get it to do and say the things that it's not supposed to. And apparently the way to do it is to basically confuse it with such a complicated request that it gets confused about what you're asking it to do, and it does what it's not supposed to do in the midst of trying to do other things. And it's like,
that sounds like a sound thing to do. Yeah.
Doesn't it sound sensible?
Yeah, it'll just press the red button, Yeah.
I'd also heard, you can say, I'm writing a book. I needed something for research sake. Obviously, I'd never try this or say this. What would you say, to do? How could I make napalm or whatever? Like, what are the ingredients to make napalm?
What's a great way to kill somebody without it being completely untraceable and disposing of the body?
For my book, mind you.
For my book, yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, for a book, yeah.
So seeing as you are now the king of book match, we're going to give you a little book match challenge.
So Lordy,
bear with me.
Okay, yeah, this could be interesting.
Now you've got to earn your keep, sunshine.
Okay.
So this, for anyone that tuned into our Christmas special, this is one of the activities that was in our Christmas quiz. So the basic idea is you're going to give me a number between 1 and 50. That's going to correspond with an element from that may or may not be in a book, and you get a point for suggesting a book with that element in it. Is that good? Is that clear? Is that a clear explanation? Some of these are pretty obscure, and some of them are really easy.
This requires me to have a memory of things that have happened in the past, which is not something I'm good with. But let's do it. Okay, let's
5 points. Book match is done.
Oh God, right. Okay, no pressure then. Right. Okay.
Right. Pick a number between 1 and 50.
Oh, I'm gonna go just for the hell of it. I'm gonna go 13.
Good
13. Oh, I'm sorry.
Or is it?
Name a book which features a dog sidekick.
A dog sidekick.
Yeah.
A dog sidekick as opposed to a dog main character. Does it have to specifically be a sidekick?
Dog sidekick. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'll go as close as you can get if you're struggling.
I mean, the first two that came to mind were Old Yeller and White Fang, but I'm not sure either of those is dog sidekick.
I think
I think those would count.
Yeah, I think you're all right with that. Yeah, well,
what's Jenny Hannaford's Gates of oh my God, Jenny's gonna kill me. I can't remember the name of her book. Jenny Hannaford's series has moonhounds in it, big moonhounds. I beta read the first book in that for her. Beautiful. And for the life of me, I've Gates of Hope. Gates of Hope.
Yeah, nice.
There you go.
Excellent.
DP, let me answer.
By all means.
Okay, terrible answers, but the main character, the first book that came to mind was Dogged.
I was going to say Dogged.
Hey,
Michael R. Fletcher.
Fletcher's book. I haven't read that.
Awesome book. A lot of fun.
Nice. Second thing that came to mind was Robin Hobb. I know Night Eyes is a wolf, not a dog, but then he did have the puppy before Night Eyes, whose name I forgot. Those were the ones that came to my mind.
Right.
Obviously, Dungeon Crawler Carl, but that's a cat. Otherwise, that would have been. Of course, she could be a main character.
There is a character who is a human who sort of turns into a dog.
Which book?
Oh God, she's in quite a few. I can't remember the character's name. Has a flamethrower.
Wow.
You're right. Yeah, I'm like you, Justin. My memory.
Things that happen in the past are difficult, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm 52. A lot of things happened in the past. I can only remember so many of them.
I have the same problem being the same age, I think. So
the same problem, and I'm not quite there yet.
I do want to make one point about Dogged that I think is an important point of order to make. Fletch claims to have invented cozy grimdark, and I predated that by a good most of a year with the short story Bastards and Baguettes that was in Grimdark magazine in January last year.
There we go. Fighting talk.
I pitched it to them as cozy grimdark. So
nice.
He doesn't get to claim the invention of cozy grimdark because I did it first.
Nice.
It is an apt description in his book. To be fair, actually, it's quite it's quite funny how I didn't know what I expected. It was a very un-Fletcher-like book in some respects, but it was very good.
Was there no like necromancy, sex, and cannibalism?
Oh yeah, there was all sorts of The main character, if she doesn't like, she just tends to rip people's heads off. So
that sounds like a Fletch book to me.
Yeah.
A little bit of insanity here and there.
A little bit of insanity, but then it's a giant dog. I mean, literally.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay then, sir. Give me another number from 1 to 50.
Another number. 22.
Ooh. Give me a book that contains an author within the story.
Oh,
just about anything Stephen King's ever written, probably. What was the one that was? Oh no, I haven't read it, but I've seen the one with Johnny Depp in the attic.
That's what I was thinking.
What's that?
He either ripped somebody off or somebody ripped him off, and you can't tell who or what. What's the name of that?
He just gradually goes mad up in the attic writing, doesn't he? It might be called something like The Attic Window or something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Something like that.
Something like, it's not Rear Window because that's the classic.
That is one of my favorite films of all time. I love that movie. It's called something like Attic. I can't remember, but there's one.
That will get you a point. That's good. Excellent.
Nice.
And a good film.
Nice.
I would say Misery, while we're at it, on the same
Yeah.
author
Misery.
and subject.
Yeah, I mean, I did say anything written by Stephen King.
Yeah, no, you're right. You covered it.
There's a decent chance. There's a couple of things I've seen that I think are adapted from books. Murder at the End of the World. I think that was adapted from a book. That's really good and features an author. I'm sure there must be more. I just can't think of any off the top of my head.
For sure.
Well, you're passing these with flying colours. Don't worry.
You're killing it. Book Match is doing amazing.
Five altogether, so there's a maximum of five book.
Oh, okay, okay. So I got another 3 to go. Good. Yeah. I'm in. Another number. Let's go 28.
Ooh, a book that features body hopping.
Oh, goddamn. I can think of comics, but I don't know if I can think of a book.
DB, I bet I know what you're looking for up there on your shelf.
There is a one up there somewhere.
I could be wrong, but you'll know when it's my turn. You'll know.
I can think of comics. I can think of multiple TV shows. I can think of a great film.
TV shows based on books?
I don't think so. Travelers isn't based on books, I don't think. Great series. Travelers, annoyingly, was based on the same premise of a film that my wife and I wrote about 10 years before it, which I kept thinking I would go back to because we wrote it. It was one of those things, we wrote the whole thing linearly, and then I realized that what we'd got wrong was the structure, and we actually should have written it in 2 parts and told the whole story from one perspective, and then halfway through stopped and told the whole story from the other perspective, because it's then a completely different movie at that point. And I kept thinking, we'll go back and do that. We'll go back and do it. And I thought we had this really unique premise. And then Travelers came out and I was like, fuckers stole our premise.
They hacked you.
So we just have to leave it a little while now to people forget about Travelers. But yeah, and the other one I was thinking of was the movie was Fallen. Fallen's one of my favorite films. It's a fantastic film. But yeah, that's body hopping. Can I a book with body hopping?
You're going to kick yourself when I have a couple I'm going to say that you're going to be like, oh shit.
Go on.
Oh, isn't there? Hang on, isn't there some body hopping in Slaughterhouse 5? Am I making that up? No, it's time hopping. No. It's time hopping. He time hops in Slaughterhouse 5. Doesn't
not
he?
Read it.
It's amazing. You should read it. It's amazing. It's brutal, but it's amazing. It's such a good book. It was one of I read it at university. It was one of my favorite books I read at university. Nah, I'm sure I should know one, but I can't think of one. I'm sorry.
Are you gonna rescue him, David?
Yes. Altered Carbon.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, is that a book or a comic?
So yeah, it
started a book. Well, was it a comic? I don't actually know. I know it's based on.
Is it a manga?
I think they've done it. I don't think they've done that subsequently, but originally it was a Richard Morgan book before they.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but the one that DB may have on his shelf,
like 15 years ago or something. Yeah.
I don't know the third book in the Farseer trilogy, but he body swaps for Katrikin for a night with Katrikin. I don't know how. Fitz
That's
and
not the one I was thinking of, but yeah.
Okay. Fitz jumps into, or someone jumps into Fitz's body for an evening of love to produce an heir.
Yeah. My wife is a big Robin Hobb fan. I haven't read any of her stuff yet, but it's on my agenda at some point. But my wife's a big Robin Hobb fan.
DB, do you have that on your shelf?
Yes.
That's what I thought you might be pointing.
I have a lot of Robin Hobb behind my head. Yeah.
Gotcha. I knew you loved some Hobb.
Yeah, definitely.
Those are mine.
Oh,
I bet there's more. Yeah. Being put on the spot makes it tough.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
exactly. I'm sure I've probably got several on my bookshelf. I just can't think of any of them right now.
Yeah. Okay, the penultimate number then, sir.
Oh, let's go right to the top and go 50.
Ooh. A book that
contains... that's not a good sign.
It might be, you just never know, do you? It might be really obvious. A book that contains a community that live on water.
The Foundation. all the Foundation books. There's a whole planet of people who live on Mars.
Dang. Quick too. Nice.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and one more.
Something random. 37.
Perfect end. A book that contains a bearded main character.
I mean, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
That's a fairly obvious one, isn't it? There's a few of them in there.
There's a lot of beards in that book.
Yeah, I'm taking the easy, obvious answer on that one.
Yeah, that'll do. Brilliant. Yeah, you've kept your crown as the book match king.
Indeed.
Well done. Thanks very much. I will take 4 out of 5, and I will at some point think of a book that includes body hopping and kick myself. I'm sure.
Send it in. Yeah.
Oh, it was fun. I enjoyed that.
That's cool. I like that. I like that game. I have a couple questions about your series, your book series. Hope you don't mind talking about your book series.
Oh yeah, no, I hate doing that. Why would I want to do that in public?
I've not read them yet. Let me. I'm digging back through so I don't. So Iden, is that how you pronounce the Iden saga? Eden saga. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I do apologize.
That's okay. Honestly, it looks like Iden, and literally everybody who tries to say it without hearing it says Iden the first time. So,
so The Damned King dropped August of last year. How is it going?
I mean, the response has been amazing. I think my favorite response to it was somebody referred to it as the Empire Strikes Back of the series, and I thought, well, I'm not going to get much higher compliment than that. I'm pretty happy. Yeah. It's the book where,
penultimate
some surprising things happen at the end. Then again, all of my books tend to have surprising things happening at the end.
That was what I gathered from the reviews I saw, even of the Bitter Crown. Folks are like, I had no idea. Folks are like, their minds are blown. Is there?
Well, read book 1. It kicks it off, and
I need to. God, I'm so behind.
There's a huge just bang. And you're like, oh.
Charlie, I'm glad you are with us. You've read a little bit of everything, and I'm so glad that you're able to.
At times, not enough, but I'm trying.
So I mean, the ending of The Lost War was the reason I wrote The Lost War. It was like that was the original idea that everything flowed from. So it was going backwards from there to get to the ending of that, and then it was the rest of it was okay. Now how does everybody deal with that? So it was very much kind of that was the turning point where now this is the rest of the story. There's before that and there's after that, basically. Without giving away spoilers.
Yeah, that reminds me of a quote from an interview. I feel like you did it not too long ago. Somebody asked, plotter or pantser? You said wayfinder. I know the beginning and the end and waypoints, and so that must have been a significant waypoint that you had to, I guess, reverse.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that is generally what I do. It's kind of from a filmmaking sort of terminology thing. I suppose it would be set pieces. I've got set pieces in my head that I want to hit that are major plot points and major scenes. And then what I try to do in between those scenes is I try to let the characters drive what happens. Because I like the idea of character-driven stories, but I still want the structure of this is a point, this is a point, this is a point. So that's I hope I get the balance between a well-plotted story and something which is character-driven as a result.
Yeah. Do your characters ever get to a place, now you're a couple books in, a couple chapters in, and you know your characters a little better, and suddenly you realize, holy shit, it's not going to make sense. How am I going to get this to pull off? Because my characters are going to have to break character in order for this to happen. Have you?
I think that hasn't really happened because I do feel like I know my characters really well. I think what has happened is I have written something into a book and then realized later, if so and so had just thought of that, they could have done that instead, and this whole storyline didn't need to happen. So you kind of have to rely on the fact sometimes that if you've made your characters real, then it's okay for them to occasionally not think of something.
Yeah,
you know, it's like you'll get a real why didn't they just do that? That would have solved the problem. It's like, well, because I didn't think of it, which means he didn't think of it, basically.
Is that the whole, why didn't they jump on the eagles and fly to Mordor?
Why didn't they use the eagles?
Which is, I mean, like the obvious answer to that is because they would have been picked out of the sky by the wraiths, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Nazgul would have just they would have seen them coming. The whole point was stealth, right?
Yeah.
So like,
and it would have been a very short book. It would have been a very short book.
Yeah. It would have been a very short book, but also it would have been a very unsuccessful book because it would have just been about how
one and done.
He could have shut the doors.
How Sauron got the ring back and killed a bunch of hobbits.
It ended the world. So you're working on book 4.
I am.
The Bastard Throne.
Yeah.
Or Bastard Throne. How is the writing going?
Better now. Last year, I just had without going into lots of deals, I had a shitty year last year. Not a shitty writing year, just like a shitty year in general. A lot of crappy stuff will happen at the same time with health and money and all kinds of stuff. And it just meant I just had no space or time for writing. And I was having to rest as much as possible just in order to basically work and function. So last year was hard. I had started it, and I had gotten to a point where I'd set everything up and I'd kicked everything off. But and then I wasn't in a place where I could write, like physically couldn't. I didn't have the energy. I couldn't stay awake to do it, literally. But things have gotten better this year. And I've been working on my health. One of the major things that's happened is I've gotten off a tablet that I didn't know was causing me problems. I was on a tablet that I didn't realize one of the side effects was fatigue and headaches. And two of my biggest problems were fatigue and headaches.
I saw you mention headaches or migraines in
yeah. It's a big ongoing problem I'm trying to manage. I'm waiting for an MRI on my neck result to find out if it's my neck that is causing it. But yeah, I get a lot of headaches, a lot of migraines, and that's a big part of the problem. But recently I've been working on a lot of stuff. I've been doing things that are helpful. I've been eating better, or I've been eating in a way that is better for me. And so I've got a lot more done. So I'm over 100K into it. My rough estimate for a first draft is always about 150K. I had set myself a target, which I'd also gone so far as to tell my editor about, because I figured if I tell my editor, it actually means it's real, that I'd try to get it done by the end of this month, which is looking ridiculously optimistic right now. But to be fair, that was in like February when I said that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's been going well. It was not the most sensible decision I've ever made to launch a website the same month that I had said I would finish writing a 150K book. It wasn't entirely intentional. It just kind of came together like that.
Well, I appreciate that.
I'm currently kind of working 3 jobs. So it's like my daily routine at the moment is work my day job, finish at 5:30, spend an hour or two on Book Match, have some dinner, right? That's just my life this month at the moment. So yeah, it'll be. I'm looking forward to it being done, but it's also important to me I get it right. I don't want to rush through it. So it'll be this first draft will be finished this summer at the absolute latest, and I would like to think with a following wind it'll be done in June.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
And with the book match, I mean, if you consider anyone watching this, like I'm mainly asking for myself, like consider this like an idiot's guide to using Book Match. Like, are there ways to look at like stats of people downloading your book when it's up there?
We can track that currently behind the scenes. We are working on putting a private counter up for authors because we've been asked for that for a couple of people. So we're going to put up a private counter for authors on their profile page, or rather on their books page, that will show them how many downloads they have had. Because we're expressly not tracking reviews, because as I said, the idea was never to be a review service. We're not, and what we didn't want to do was tell reviewers the only way you sign up is, if you download a book, you must review it, and we're going to follow up on that, because that's just puts reviewers off. And what we said to reviewers is, look, all we want you to do is sign up and tell us what you want to read. We're going to present you with a load of books you might want to read, and if you read them and review them, great. That's brilliant.
There you go. You might have another customer. So.
Amazing.
Join us, Frogging Time.
We have matched to the book match.
Sweet. But what we can do is we can say, okay, this is how many people have downloaded your book. And we're also looking at, this is something else that we didn't track to begin with, but we can do it retrospectively. We're also looking at getting the stats for how many reviewers your book was emailed to, so that you'll be able to know how, not just how many people we've got on the site, but how many specifically people had ticked your subgenre and therefore got the email with your book. And you'll then, as more reviewers sign up, as hopefully their community grows, your book stays in the library, so people can come along and just browse it. If they come in and select those filters, they're looking for that kind of book, your book stays up there and they can pick it up later too.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Nice.
All right. Regarding your series, 4 books. Did you always know it was going to be 4 books?
I did not. My original intention was a trilogy. And then when I got 200,000 words into book 2 and realized it wasn't finished yet, I decided it was 4 books. I got the book 2 was originally called, my God, what was book 2 originally called? The Insurgent King. That was its working title when I was writing it. And I got to 200,000 words and I realized there was an awful lot of story left to go. And I thought, this is far too big. And so I decided I was going to, I found a breakpoint there. I kind of reined back a couple of chapters from where I was and found a point that was like, okay, this is an interesting, it's going to annoy people because I'm kind of ending on a cliffhanger, but it's an interesting point to end the book at, where people are going to want to know what happens next, and it will feed into the next book. And so I decided at that point that I would make it 4 books, and I announced it was going to be 4 books. And then I won Spiffbo and I got an agent, and my agent said, yeah, it needs to be more like 150k words. And I was like, dude, do you have any idea what it's going to take me to cut this? Like, you're asking me to cut a quarter of this book out.
Gosh, yeah. 10%.
So I got it down to like, I think 164-ish. And I was just like, I can't cut it any more than this. I've cut it down to everything that's essential. I can't cut any more than this. I took a few storylines out, and I reused one of them in particular in The Damned King. But I really had to kill some darlings. I had to kill some scenes that I really loved, but that I could take out in order and have the whole thing still make sense. So yeah, and then funnily enough, in editing, this always happens with me in editing, because I'm quite sparse on descriptions in my first draft. So in editing, my word counts always go up.
Yeah,
my books don't get shorter in editing; they get longer.
Yeah, mine too.
It's always my editor saying, could we have a scene where this happens? Could we have some more description of this location? I can't really picture where we are. So yeah, I think it ended up having gone from 200 down to about 164-ish. I think it published at about 175 in the end.
That's a trimming right there.
It is.
How many words is Violence and Vigilance?
280,000.
280.
Yeah, it should have been. It's 2 pounds, and bro, if you look, the margins are pinched. It is King James version, King James looking. Text is tiny. I was at Amazon's like maximum capacity of fucking words, and it doesn't make everybody has. A lot of people bought the book and they're like, I can't read, bro. The text is too small. There's a lot wrong. Like, there's a lot that could be improved there, and I realize that. It was supposed to be 2 books, but it would have been weirdly disjointed, if so, and to chop it right in the middle, then I would have had 140 words. It would just not have been. I could not find a satisfying way of doing it. It was right in the middle of a lot of things for a lot of people.
Right.
And book 3, 2, the sequel, the conclusion, it's 2 books total. It's not going to be as long because we already know all the fact. We already know everybody, so all that ground is covered. Now everybody's just got to kill each other and.
Oh yeah, I mean, as any good book does, right?
Spoilers.
That's an interesting thing actually that has come up with Book Match, which is I know is a kind of long-standing thing, but it's interesting that so I one of the things you get on Book Match is a word count to give you a notion of how long the book.
That's how I knew today is because I had just looked it up to answer that question.
Exactly. So authors, you ask an author how long their book is, they're going to tell you how many words it is. But if you ask a reader how long a book is, they're going to tell you how many pages it was.
Yeah.
And so I've had reviewers saying, you've got the word count, but can you give us a page count? And I'm like,
it's deceptive.
We can do a calculation, but I mean, as you've just shown, it depends on your font size and your margins and we can do a rough calculation to give you an idea. I personally tend to do the mental calculation that like roughly 250 words is a page.
Oh God! Yeah.
But that is completely dependent upon font size, page size, everything. Yep. Book size.
I want to see how long my book would be if that were.
Well, yours is 280 and 203 to be exact. So.
The book would be 1,120 pages if there were 225 words per page. And
that's right. Well, my 150, 160K books are about 500 pages ish.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
That's a good size.
Yeah.
280 feels. Well, luckily, a lot of reviews.
Pages.
Wait, what
was that?
I heard 69.
629 pages.
Okay. Ooh. I've heard people say it's a long book, but it doesn't feel long, and I appreciate people saying that.
I say 100% of that. You don't. Yeah. If you wouldn't hold it physically, like I partially read physically, passed on. I have like an ebook version as well, just for convenience.
Because you're an awesome guy.
It's a bit it's a bit sort of hard to track that sometimes because you can change your fonts. You're a bit blind like me. The font gets bigger and bigger, so I can actually read it.
Yeah. Same.
But you're just going through. You're just flicking through. It doesn't feel like you're.
If it's an ebook, who cares how long it is? I read Lonesome Dove. I can't tell you how many times I've read Lonesome Dove, and it's a fucking tome. I don't know how many words it is, but it's huge.
People who like fantasy tend to like long books. The people who don't like long books are publishers because they're expensive to print.
Because they're shipping, printing, for sure. I wanted to address this because I don't hear this word often enough, and it's a word that I take into consideration. Look at it; it's an actual brick.
That's a doorstop.
That's stopping a bullet.
But let's not put that to the test. Maybe not a 50 cal. Okay. Someone said of the Bitter Crown, and you put it on your website, which means you approved and you liked it enough. The Bitter Crown is a book that makes you think deeply. A dark, hopeful, contemplative, and engaging Bechdel test certified critique of those who seek to drive the people apart. Spells and Spaceships said that. What stood out to me was the Bechdel test. I don't remember how it's pronounced. I know what it is, but for you, what is the how do you pronounce it? I'm sorry.
I think it's just Bechdel.
Okay. And what is the Bechdel test and why is it important to you?
So, so the funny thing about the Bechdel test is this. The Bechdel test came from a cartoon, a comic strip written by a woman, funnily enough. And it essentially established a baseline for any movie. I think it was specifically in regard to a movie. And the baseline was that at some point in the movie, 2 named female characters had to speak to each other about something other than a man. And the thing
Such a
about the
low
Bechdel test
bar, isn't it?
and
Yeah.
you would not believe how few films pass it.
I know.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
The number of like probably more than 75 to 80% of major blockbuster films do not pass this test.
I bet the Blade
the thing
itself doesn't. Lord of the Rings might not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. So many things don't pass that very bare minimum test. It's ridiculous. And the point of it is, it became this thing of Bechdel being like, oh, this is my bare, and it became a standard that people started talking about.
Yeah.
And the author, whose name I think is it Alison Bechdel?
I don't
think
remember.
she's the one. I think it's Alison. I apologize, Alison, if your name's not Alison. I'm sorry. I'm bad at remembering things that happened in the past.
I think you're representing her well.
I hope so. The point of it was meant to be a joke. It wasn't meant to be a genuine standard that meant something was acceptable. The whole point was the bar is so low and everybody is still tripping over it and failing to pass this horrendously low bar because it just doesn't happen. So yeah, it's the Bechdel test. I think people talk about it. It's like, does it pass the Bechdel test? If it doesn't pass the Bechdel test, just get out of the room. Like, don't even start. But you know, stuff that if it at least passes the Bechdel test, you can hope that there might actually be some slightly three-dimensional female characters.
Yeah. And I couldn't possibly be critical of anything that doesn't pass, and especially the author who writes those things, because of what we've had coming up and how, I don't know. But it was something that I've thought about before while writing, and it's not necessarily a dead goal of mine, but I do anticipate somebody, you can imagine the type of reviewer who might say this. A lot of women hold power in Violence and Vigilance, and more are going to by the time it's all said and done. And it might get, some people might call it feminist propaganda type names, but it's just me trying to be conscious of half the fucking population, and
it's not.
There are characters that I liked, and they're just happen to be women, and I wrote them, and but I'm not trying to toot my horn.
That's the thing. And that's great. It's great. Honestly, it's. I mean, there is an irony that here we are, 5 white men talking about the representation of women. But
True.
It's a thing. It's a real.
Yeah.
It's a really.
It's
just deep. As you say, the things were brought up on. And I had this conversation with a friend of mine once. One of my oldest friends. We were at school together when we were about 14, and we'd been out drinking in the afternoon, and he made this comment along the lines of, this TV show, and it's like people, it's this forced diversity, and it's just all this woke stuff. And I was like, stop. And I was like, no. The problem here is that you have been conditioned throughout your entire life to see every single main character as a person who is you, as a white, straight, cis, het male. And for you now, that is the default. That character is the default. That's a blank canvas. And if a character deviates from that in any way, you feel a need for that character to justify that deviation. There has to be a reason for that character to not be a straight, white, cis, het male. So straight and het are the same thing. I've just realized. But you know what I mean? You need to justify, that character can't just be a woman. That character can't just be black or Latino or gay or whatever. There needs to be a story justification for why they are that, because if not, they should just be a straight white cis man. And that is what society has ingrained in just about everybody, but certainly us, those of us who see ourselves in that. You come to think of yourself as the default, and it becomes a massive problem because you do see representation of other people as weird, whereas all the other people in the world who don't happen to fall into our tiny demographic on the grand scale are looking at what's being put out and going, where am I? I never see myself represented. So what do I aspire to? And it's all just really insidiously, culturally brainwashing. And God, I'm looking forward to it dying.
I did not anticipate such passion, but I sure do appreciate the passionate response.
Yeah, sorry, it's a pet subject of mine. I can rant about that for days. I bore people about this. So, but thank you for asking. It gave me a chance to talk about it.
Yeah.
Surprisingly deep for our podcast.
Have that reset, don't you? Make you think about it. So
Yeah,
I think I was complaining to my buddy about the Hobbit, one of the Hobbit films, and how Evangeline Lilly, I don't know how to pronounce this, was it. And I'm like, I'm just ranting. She's not even in the books. What the fuck? You're about to die. And he's like, well, my daughter really likes her, and now my daughter likes swords.
Yep, that's it. People see themselves in something, and it matters to them. It matters. I read a post by a black woman who said, "Whatever you all think about the live action Little Mermaid being a black woman," said, "My little girl saw her on television and cried because the Little Mermaid looked like her."
Yeah,
I was like, there you go. Exactly. Everybody else, shut up.
That's a short argument.
That's it. It's not even an argument. It's just a shut up. People need to see themselves in the world to feel like they belong in the world and that they have a right to exist in the world. And if we constantly don't show them themselves in our media, it's intrinsically stifling how they see themselves and feel about themselves and what they feel like they can achieve.
I got another very quick one. This is not going to be the can of worms that the last one was. Someone said of The Damned King, and you decided to put this snippet on your website, which meant you approved of it. This book was fucking incredible.
Yeah, I did put that. You're right. Absolutely.
As long as you didn't write it.
I did not. I don't know why I didn't. I don't have who wrote it, but it was just. I thought it was a good. I don't know.
I think my favorite quote from a reviewer about The Damned King was a reviewer that I got to know after meeting her at I think Worldcon in Glasgow a couple of years ago. Mayor, Lady Mayor. What's her Instagram? Lady Mayor Reads? Lady Mayor Writes? Can't remember. Mayor, anyway. Hi, Mayor. And her comment was, this book hurt more than my knee operation. And I was like, that's a great comment. I love that. That's so good. So yeah, that was my favorite quote about The Damned King. So that and this it being the Empire Strikes Back of the series was like,
that's good too, for sure.
Those are two great quotes. I love them. Yeah,
very much looking forward to it. I'm a bit behind on catch up the series, but that's my goal this year. I have got I did go all the way to Scotland a few years ago to get my copy of The Bitter Crown signed by Justin. So
you did, yeah.
Awesome. I've got to follow up. Yeah.
Charlie, if you go to the UK or England, I don't have any excuse because I feel like you're just on the flip side of the entire earth. So I need to get over there.
It was a little while ago, unfortunately. Yeah. The cost of getting there now is so ridiculously expensive.
Maybe it'll improve.
Yeah.
Wow. We can hope.
We can hope.
Yeah, I'll be on the longboat. I think might be the only way at this stage. So.
Yeah, the cost of doing anything and going anywhere is going up quite quickly, isn't it?
It is.
Unfortunately, yeah.
It is.
I have I have, just so y'all know, I have an entire episode worth more of stuff that I could ask Justin or that we could ramble about. So I feel like I've hit the pinnacle of everything.
This is with minimal professional research.
Research, because I'm torn. I too have multiple jobs that I'm working right now, but I wasn't going to half-ass it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, getting Bastard Throne done is going to be interesting. I was just thinking back to that when you were asking about it earlier. It's weird because it's going to have been like a decade of my life writing this series. Because I started writing it in like 2018, and by the time this comes out, it's going to be 2027, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be sometime next year. So it's going to be like pretty much 10 years of my life, this series, one way or another. Which is both an indictment of how slowly I write, but also just like, wow, that's been a big segment of my life.
4-book series is no mean feat, is it? So, yeah.
Will there be other stories or books in this in the same world?
I'm not planning any yet. I think the only way that'll happen is if a story that that excites me comes to me, that works in that world, that needs to work in that world. I have multiple different things that I have ideas for doing next. And in one of them's in a vaguely similar genre. The other couple that are most likely are they're all still fantasy, but they're in a very different genre of fantasy. I kind of feel like, I mean, my first book was an urban fantasy comedy, and I followed that up with an epic fantasy mystery. So, you know, I make sensible business decisions about writing in the same genre, clearly. I've got a couple of ideas for different things. I'm not sure which one's going to end up. I think the thing that I end up writing next is going to be the thing that my agent can sell, probably. But I've got several ideas of things that I want to do, and it's just a case of figuring out which one's the right thing to do next, basically. But yeah, I mean, there are spin-off things I could write. There's a bunch of characters that are in The Bitter Crown, and some of them are in The Damned King, that could theoretically anchor a standalone book, I think, if I decided to go that way. But I'm not sure that there's a risk of that, because I'm not sure how much people enjoy when you have a set of characters that people really love and like hanging out with. If you then write a book in that world, but with different characters than the main characters that they love, sometimes people just don't like that. It's like they want the characters, they want the characters, not just the world.
Yeah. I like the second 3 First Law books, but I really wanted some more Logan. I always wanted more Logan. And
that's it, because Logan was the anchor of that series. He was the reason you kept going back.
Yeah.
Completely. That is probably my favorite fantasy series of all time. The First Law.
Same.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
In fact,
I credit it with getting me back into reading fantasy as an adult.
I feel like you and I, we may have had a similar. So to quote you on that, I'm so sorry. The Blade itself resonated with me. The Blade itself resonated with me in a way that I hadn't really experienced before, and I didn't know you could do that with fantasy sort of way, and it opened up a whole genre to me as an adult. Same for me, dude. Like when I read it, I had been writing a book, and when I read, I was hooked from the first paragraph. Just how tight the viewpoint was, despite being third person.
Yep.
I stopped and rewrote the entire book I had been working on. And now it was my first book. This was a billion years ago, and it was going to be shit one way or the other. But because I saw that you could get that deep in a character's head while still being third person, and then be somewhat unreliable, more than somewhat unreliable, fallible, completely fallible. It changed the way I looked at stuff.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, just brilliant characters, great world. Love Joe's writing. And I got to interview him last year.
I saw that you did. That's awesome.
Just, oh man, talk about career goals, man. Like getting to interview him after literally having told him, like, yeah, you're basically half the reason I wrote this book, mate. And he was such a nice guy. Like just exactly how you want somebody to be when you meet them after all that time. Like I'd met him a couple of times at book signings before, but literally kind of saying hello and having a quick chat as he was signing a book for me.
Yeah.
So actually getting to kind of like hang out with him backstage in the green room and then interview him and then grab a beer afterwards was like, that's a great experience, man. That was so cool.
I can imagine. I'd probably act a fool. I'd probably act a little starstruck and ridiculous.
Those were the first Grimdark books I read, to be honest. Well, I didn't know it. That's what it was at the time. But
me neither.
Yeah.
Same, and I mean, I'd never heard of Grimdark before I read it.
Yeah.
And I read, and it's funny how I picked it up. I picked up The Last Argument of Kings in a bookshop without clocking it was the third book of a trilogy until I got it home. And then went, oh, well, I should probably buy the first two then, because now I've got the third one. So I bought the other two and then read them all back to back.
Yeah. No, I've done similar things. Like, oh, hang on a second.
Yeah.
That's why you need to put books 1, 2, and 3 on your spines, people.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
They are. I can say they are on the Eden Saga. They do say book 1, 2, 3. But one of the things that's been funny about all the AI spam we were talking about earlier is how easy it is for me to filter out AI spam, because so many of them assume that The Damned King was the end of the trilogy. So they're all like, hey, you ended your trilogy on this great book and it's amazing. And I'm like, you haven't read it. You don't know what's you don't know that it's not the end of the series. There's another book coming. Get out of my emails. It's a really easy one. Hey, congratulations on finishing your trilogy. Bye-bye.
Can I tell you, when I was halfway through my research, all I saw was on Amazon, it lists as book 3 of 3.
Because until the fourth book has an Amazon listing, that's what they do. It's really annoying.
That occurred to me after a little bit more research, and I realized I was like, oh, I almost was a dumbass on the show. found the end.
And the thing is, most people write trilogies. I started out writing a trilogy. It became 4 books because there was more story than I intended in the middle. And so it became 4 books because of that. But this is definitely the last book.
Sure it is.
And the thing is, I've known where this book ends. I've known where this story ends for years, and it's always just been a case of actually having
getting there.
The combination of time, energy, and health to write it. Those are the 3 things that any author needs to have at any given time in order to actually be able to get anything done. And unfortunately, I have struggled to get that combination all together. But we're getting there. And I'm enjoying it. And I've got a really cool situation where my wife and 2 of my stepkids are literally reading it as I'm writing it. So like as I finish a chapter, I send it to the Kindle and they read it and they give me instant feedback. So it's almost like it's almost like theater. It's almost like having an audience who give you an instant reaction. But it's great because it really encourages me, because I'm like, I'm not sitting screaming into a void thinking nobody's ever going to want to read this. It's awful. Yeah,
it's some immediate feedback. Yeah.
Rub it in, why don't you?
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Well, that's what it's usually like, though, isn't it? You sit in a room by yourself, feel like you're just typing into a void. Nobody's ever going to read this. It's garbage. It's terrible. And then you hand it to somebody and you have a nervous breakdown while you wait for them to read it and tell you that it's terrible. But yeah, no, this really works for me. It turns out I'm very motivated by immediate positive reinforcement.
That is good. I've said that the positive reinforcement. I used to say that positive feedback does you no good. That is not true. There are days you absolutely need some positive feedback.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess if I had a point, it was the critiques, when well thought out and coming from a good place, they can improve a thing. Or like help direct it in the right direction, especially if it's a work in progress. Good feedback that'll keep your feet moving.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is it depends on how much of an expert you are, quote unquote, because I used to work for a company that did like learning materials for people to become better managers and corporate leaders and stuff. But a lot of the psychological stuff that we looked into was actually really interesting. And there is psychological evidence that shows that when somebody is new to something, at a skill or whatever, say playing the piano, when they are new, what is most beneficial to them is positive feedback and positive reinforcement. So telling them what they're doing right and encouraging them when they're new is vital to getting them to stay with it and to learn. Whereas when they are an expert, positive feedback is almost useless, because they don't need to be told you enjoyed it. They need to be told where could they fine tune it and make it even better.
Yeah.
So at the point where somebody is an expert in something, that's the point where critical feedback becomes more beneficial and more useful to them. And where you are on that, and the problem with that with authors is that we all have, oh my God, what's it called? We all have imposter syndrome. There we go. Yeah. We all have imposter syndrome. We all think somebody's going to come along and figure out that we don't know what we're doing at some point. So I don't know that we ever get to the psychological point of believing that we're experts and that we know what we're doing. But theoretically, the idea is that the more of an expert you are, the more confident you are in what you're doing, the more critical feedback is useful and the more you can take it on board, and it helps you improve that little extra 1-2% to become even better. But early on, especially debut authors, first-time authors, what they need early on is positive reinforcement and feedback more than anything.
I try to think about that with my kids if they're trying something new. To be, you know, you nailed this. This is what you did perfectly. This is what you did great. And critique can wait.
Yep. Yeah. And that's it. That is the way. As I say, there's psychological studies into this that says this is how you have to do it. If somebody's gonna learn a skill and you want to give them feedback, this is the way it works.
Yeah.
Cool. What have I pressed? No, it's not. Everyone's still there. Well,
now the sun has risen in Australia, which suggests to me that it has sank in the UK.
Yeah. That is now a dark window behind me.
and we've swapped. So there you go. How's that for a metaphysical transformation?
Yeah, you stole our sun, bastard.
Little brain bender. Give it back, future man.
It's looking like I've stole your mist or rain, so it's looking miserable out there. So
we could use some rain.
We don't want that.
We could use some over here. It's quite dry where I'm at.
Yeah,
we're not actually far from the point just outside Edinburgh in Scotland. We're not far from the point in the year where it will basically be light from 4 a.m. till about 11 p.m. soon.
Yes,
that is nuts.
It barely gets dark here.
I forget how north you are up there.
Yeah, we're pretty high. We're not that. Well, I mean, we're not quite the Arctic Circle, but you know, you can see it out the window.
And it's even right. I mean, staying up in the Highlands, and it's even, you know, you get just that little bit longer either side there. You know, further north you get, yeah.
Yep. I mean, right up the tip of Scotland, it probably doesn't actually get dark.
Yeah. Cool. Scotland's on my it's on my bucket list. My mom, her maiden name is McInnes, and so we want to go find the McKinns or see what.
Yeah, we'll definitely about.
Tell her to watch the Hearts Celtic game tomorrow. That's going to be the league title decider, because the Hearts manager is Derek McInnes. So one of her clan could be managing the first team to win the Scottish League in, I think, 40 years outside of Glasgow, Celtic and Rangers.
Yeah.
Coach? Like MCINNES?
MCINNES. Yeah, Derek McInnes. Yeah. Used to be. I know this because he used to be our manager. I'm an Aberdeen fan, and he used to be Aberdeen manager. But and I really hope he wins. God, to see somebody other than Celtic or Rangers win the league for the first time in 40 years would be something.
Would be nice.
Yeah. So cool. Anyone outside the UK, they've been the only ones that are in most people's living memories.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh no, I'll definitely get back because my brother's in Edinburgh as well. So yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why you were over here, wasn't it?
Yeah. He lives in Coburn Street. I think it's just off the Royal Mile. So yeah.
Oh wow, that's going to be an expensive place to live.
Well, he's
Charlie's royalty. He's danced with the Queen.
No, God, when did he? He's been there for he got the fact when he was at university, so he's been there for 20 plus years. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is he still in the student house?
Well, it wasn't student house. It's a nice flat, but yes, but one on top of a big old building at the top, no lift, but you know, it's all
right at the top of the hill.
Oh yeah. One of the old Victorian tenements. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
I mean, Coburn Street. I mean, that's right off the high street. That's the heart of the old town. That's That's extremely old buildings in there. That's why I was thinking it must be expensive, because it's not cheap to live in the center of town in there in the old town.
Yes, no, I think it has its challenges. So
I'm sure. I'm sure he's got problems with mold and damp and everything else as well in those old buildings.
Funny enough, he's renovating the flat at the moment. He lifted up the bathroom floor and it was all the joists are off, but all the material has to be carried up like 20 flights of stairs.
Oof.
So yeah, he's being fit. Yeah, fun and games.
Downsides to a castle.
Yeah. The old Victorian tenements, man. My stepdaughter just moved out of a top floor flat in Dundee.
Yeah.
And man, at 52 with duff hips, going up 4 flights of stairs. I
hate helping move.
I was getting to the top, like, just give me a minute. I'll be with you. Just let me catch my breath.
I've said multiple times that I will never help anybody move again. I will pay money, and I never do. I have a truck, and so people call me. And I already move kayaks for a living, so I must have mover just stamped on my forehead.
Well, that's the logic. They're going, he's got the vehicle. He's
got a truck. Stuff. Yeah, he likes carrying shit, clearly.
He clearly normally says yes. So
yeah.
He hadn't said no yet.
Makes sense.
Run for your own back. Awesome. Very good. Well, time is ticking a little bit for me, but I don't know.
Oh, good Lord! I've just actually clocked how long we've been on. We've been on an hour and 20. That's flown by.
I try not to look at it because it flies by.
It did. It has flown by. I would have thought we must have been coming up an hour, and yet we're a good 20 minutes over that.
Yeah,
we were under an hour. There's so many more things. Not to keep on saying that over and over.
No, but we'll
reconvene.
Just as joining our list of returning guests, so we'll
he's a veteran.
I mean,
we can talk about
returning guest, or he'll be a returning.
Returning. Yeah, returning.
I'll come back up when the Bastard Throne comes out, and we can talk about that.
Nice.
Perfect.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
That'd be awesome.
Good.
And so
I'm actually planning to do I'm planning to do a thing with there's a bookseller in Edinburgh called Toppings. There's a guy named Andrew who's just he has hand sold like 400 copies of my book. The guy's an absolute legend, and but because my books are very easy to spoil because there are lots of twists and turns. It's difficult to do the book launches because you can't spoil the books by talking about them and for people who haven't read them. But one of the things we're going to do is we'll do my book launch for the Bastard Throne, but then we're going to do another one. We're going to do another event like a month or two or whatever after that, where we're going to do spoilers for the whole series. We're just going to do we're going to have an evening where you come in and we're going to talk about the whole 4 books with full spoilers for everybody who's actually read the whole series. And we're talking about like maybe even doing it in a pub and like streaming it online as well for people who want to watch it. Because to get to actually talk about it all and not have to worry about spoiling it would be a really novel experience for me.
It's a dream of mine too. One day for the V&V, it's only 2 books. It'll only be 2, but still, dream of mine as well.
But I think that's great. I mean, when you've got enough time there, then for those that have read them, that'd be a fantastic opportunity. Toppings is an amazing shop. I spent too much time and money in there when I was.
I call it the little wooden labyrinth of books.
Yes, because it's all.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
beautiful little shop, and you get free cups of tea and biscuits.
Here's my little girl. She's saying, "Willa says hey."
Hi, Willa.
Yes, it's a special place, but then you remember you've got to get back on an airplane, and you've got all these books and. I was very good because
difficult.
The UK's got so many great bookshops. It didn't help. My brother gave me a voucher to Toppings, so I went and spent a morning buying shops. And it's like, how am I going to get these books back? So I had this bag which I hand carried, but I had to pretend that it wasn't heavy, so that they didn't weigh it. And my daughter's like, okay. For your dad. Went, no. Yeah, just I'll put it in the love cup. No, it's fine. In the meantime, I'm going. Got away with it, so
Oops. Well done.
Yeah, that
a good bit of subterfuge.
That was a bit of misdirection. So
that's always my problem when I go to cons because I fly to most of them because they're all down south, and I'm always like, well, I can't just buy a load of books while I'm here because I've got to get on the plane and take them home again, and I'm not. It's not going to work.
That's it. Well, Justin, thank you very much for coming on again. As you said, we could chat for a long time, and for everyone that's viewed us, thank you. Anyone on review, check us out. Check out Justin's book and sign up. Get on to Book Match.
Get on Book Match.
Yeah.
The more the merrier.
Tell your friends. Tell your friends. Spread the word.
That's it.
Yeah.
And,
I want to get all the reviewers in the world. We want all the reviewers on the site.
All the reviews.
The book reviewer.
We can do it.
Good stuff. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And we're back. Actually, where are we back? 2 weeks. I think we're back. Change to Stephen Aaron, I think, in 2 weeks.
You might not see a lot of me in the coming weeks. Just a heads up.
Yeah, we've had to let David go, but we weren't going to announce it yet. But no.
I got to sling kayaks while it's hot outside.
Did you say?
Sorry,
Charles, did you say you got Stephen Aryan coming on?
Yes, at the end of the month. Yeah.
Oh, he's a good mate of mine. I love Stephen.
Excellent. We can jump on and give him some crap. So yeah.
He's a fellow tall author, isn't he? He's a tall guy.
He is.
He's a member. He's a fellow founding member of the Tall Fantasy Authors Club.
Who all's in that? Ryan Cahill.
Ryan, me, Stephen, Tom Lee, Jay Christoph.
If Andy Peliquin's not in there, he should be.
Haven't met Andy Peliquin in person, so I don't know.
He's about he's 6'4". I don't know how many centimeters that is, but he's 6'4".
Well, I don't know why. I'm 6'3". I don't know. I can't. Okay. I grew up in the States, so I can't do. I got
you. I bet I knew that. Updates notes.
I couldn't begin to tell you what it is. I'm missing at least like several. Dave Ragg. Dave Ragg's the other one I'm thinking of.
Oh, right.
It was a particular fantasy con in Birmingham where the bar ran out of booze because they didn't believe authors would drink as much as we did.
They're dummies.
And people were literally bringing whiskey from the supermarket across the road and just going around pouring glasses for people in the bar because the bar had run out of booze.
That sounds awesome.
And yeah, it was Dave Ragg, Stephen Aryan, Ryan Cahill. I think were the original four, and maybe Tom Lee might have been there too. And I think Dave Green was maybe around, but I don't know if he was there for the conversation. But yeah, that was kind of like the original group that became the Tall Fantasy Authors Club.
All right.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And till next time, stay safe and be good. And now,
thanks, guys.
Cheers.
You've been listening to the 4 Beardsmen of the Bookpocalyse. Like, share, subscribe for more.